right, here we are. Here we are again.
Here we are.
Episode 2 of The Good News. I'm Aaron. I'm here with George and Georgia. We're doing
Georgia.
it again. Yeah, let's be
George.
clear about that.
I'll be George.
We talked about last time about the show. It's really about having fun. And what I'm excited about this show is really just to see what you both want to talk about and to allow this show to be kind of spontaneous in the sense of what wants to emerge, what's alive in your lives, and what you've been talking about with each other. And
Better that way.
yeah, it's just better than us being scripted because we'll never really do that well. So this is the way.
Not well.
Not as well as we could. And so, and a big part of, I think, also what I heard from you, Georgia, about some of the stuff you guys have been talking about is just like how to share just sort of the real life part of this whole experience over here at Medicine Path, and really even just in your own lives, in your home, versus talking about philosophy, which then inevitably leads us to dogma.
Indeed. Yeah. Good.
So
Yeah.
that might be a good place to start.
Well, my husband
Yeah,
wanted
please.
to talk about. Now he's acting shy, but don't.
I don't feel shy. I just don't know what I'm talking about.
Why?
And as usual, I'm looking at you.
We're gonna start. We're good.
Yeah, he wanted us to contextualize that. Here we are. We have a lifestyle where probably 3 weekends a month, 3 Saturdays a month, we're devoting the entire day to our prayers in a community. And when we say in community, with strangers that become loved ones very quickly, but not with a same group of people or people who have a certain identity. Human beings who live in this day and age here. Not all Americans, not all Californians, but human beings. And some of them come from very far away, in fact, to do this with us. And we reach all Saturday long with the help of all of these medicines that we pray with in our dome to really find out the highest elevation that we possibly can for that's purely in the realm of spiritual truth, wisdom teachings, that kind of thing. We aren't following a script or any kind of book or code. We're listening to voices that we all seem to simultaneously hear that we then express as our prayer about what's our deepest want and wish and how we really want to be. And everybody says something that's their deepest prayer that they want to see realized in this world that everybody else relates to, even though we're complete strangers, we don't know each other. And then what, boom, that's Saturday. Next Sunday comes at us lickety-split. And it's, all right, how does this elevation that we have reached, with the help of a lot of people, maybe 25, 26 people of a Saturday, how does that elevation then become relevant in our lives, where it's kind of like, do-de-do, I'm tired, do-de-do, we got to figure out how to have a great Sunday with our very real and super smart and present and alive 10-year-old child. And so it begins. And that was how we wanted to set up what the purpose of all of the elevation was is for the specific person of informing how we live in our real family life in Berkeley.
Yeah, and so the the difference that you and I were talking about was just that, we don't do spiritual activity in order to become more spiritual. Because everyone's just as spiritual as they are. It's
Absolutely.
Just, everyone has their own relationship with the Creator, and we can invoke it or not invoke it, or be mad about it, or be excited about it, or be happy about it, or whatever. But everybody is in some form of relationship with Creator. And what you said was just a beautiful way of putting it. What we're really doing is allowing the sacraments to teach us what is germane, what is relevant to our life experience, because our ceremonies are specifically designed to help promote the idea of community, not a little closed community, but an expansive community where people can come from anywhere and feel comfortable and feel safe and experience that mirroring that they get when they're in a room full of people that really are not like them and that they maybe have never met before. And that happens continually. As you said last week, some people come, all the time, and some people, we'll see them once and never see them again. And when we first started doing medicine together, you said to me, well, what's the elevation for? The elevation is so you don't pancake when you get confronted by the realities of your life. Like, what do you have to do? What do you have to learn from the medicine and from your personal relationship with Creator and your practice in your life about where the points of practice are, which actually means the points of failure. Like, when am I blowing it? Okay, and then the prayer that you make, because the prayer is really just about, for peace and love and happiness and unlimited joy, etc., but not in any esoteric sense. It's like, I want my family to be happy, peaceful, and everybody to feel loved and feel safe. Okay, I have to change my behavior constantly if I want to affect that change.
In a good way.
Yeah, because what happens is, as you go through life and you do these kinds of practices, you receive elevation and your practice elevates, but then you receive more challenges.
Absolutely.
It never ends. So from birth to death, you are constantly being challenged. And in the middle part, I'm not talking about chronological age, I'm just talking about in the middle of the experience of someone who is seeking to integrate their physical life, their spiritual life, their mental and emotional life. The challenges that come seem harder because the ones in the middle are relatively easy. Gee, I just want to find out what kind of man I want to be. Okay, you'll get a lot of feedback about that from the universe. It'll show you easily what you're doing that you don't like, or that somebody else mirrors back to you that they don't like. But when you start to get, you've been in it for a while, what happens is it's unclear. But I think I'm good. Everybody does this. I call it plateau. It's like everybody hits a plateau where they feel like they've done enough or they've gone far enough. And, it's like, it's never true. It's like whatever we're doing, say, it's like I love this person forever. It's like, okay, well, let's see what forever is going to look like. Because forever is not any idea of eternity.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually what you do when you do wake up on Sunday morning, or you wake up on Wednesday and you're in a bad mood, you don't feel it. You see what I'm saying? So this is...
Pause.
Sky King.
I thought we cleared the airspace before we did this show. John, we got to have a meeting about that.
Yeah, to that point about the point of practice and the hard feelings, and precisely what the medicine and the elevation allow us to do is to experience our hard feelings in real time, where we can do something different than we've done before. If you experience hard feeling and you're so upset the moment that you feel it, that immediately you run into your story about like, wow, I'm having this hard feeling because you, because it, because they, because this is how things are, and that's why I'm upset. That's really different from just having the hard feeling like, wow, this feels like the way I don't like to feel. And you can experience for a second, whoa, the intensity of it, the chemicals through your body back off right away. And before you know it, you get to just take another breath and do something completely different and not get sidetracked down that rabbit hole about what you think caused your bad feeling. And the really significant change that our prayer life offers us is the ability to experience more of bandwidth of our difficult feelings without becoming owned by them or run by them or reactive to them, because that's where most of the behavior that we end up regretting does. And it's like, it doesn't matter what the thing that triggers you into your hard feelings are. It's hard. You're scared when you're scared. Somebody says something, you felt bad about it, because you felt bad about it. You don't have to define like what happened in your childhood why you feel bad when somebody, or how they should have known that if they say that thing that makes you feel bad. You could bypass all of that and go like, wow, that's the things. Now I feel really bad. And like, wow, now I'm actually a grown-up adult. This person actually loves me. They certainly didn't mean any harm when they said that. Rolling right along, and you saved yourself like maybe 4 days of terrible dialogue about what's wrong and who's right and who's wrong, and you just went straight to like whatever kind of gentle return to love. Love doesn't have to be like saying sweet things when you feel like crap. It's just you let the things that feel bad go away sooner, and you return to feeling the way you like to feel. And then you take actions from the place where you know how you feel, which is just like every time that you do that, it's gonna grow your mind. It's gonna grow your storyline. It's gonna expand how you are able to encompass everybody else's humanity. And this is the working edge for us, because the only thing that's wasting the time of these incredibly, blessed lives that people that we know are having is we're ruining our own lives by just explaining what might be the problem all of the time. And most of the problems that we're explaining aren't even the external ones about the homeless and about the government. It's most of the time it's about how somebody said something that hurt our feelings and how wrong they are. And so this, we were talking with Erin about like the opposite. Here we go. Here she comes. this is the this is where we are not talking about creating a dogma about how everybody should do it, and if we all just did it the way this is the law of the new religion that we're trying to create, then we'll avoid all the feelings. We're not avoiding any feelings. We're having more of our humanity, which includes whatever feelings we're having, but not necessarily, but actually being able to grow the part of our incredible brain human being apparatus that does not respond the same way and develops new parameters for like what does it really mean when such and such is happening, which is largely nothing. It means nothing is happening here. I'm still just as blessed. My family is well. My children are thriving. I'm going to find something even more meaningful to do with my time, because that's what I'm orienting towards. I'm going to be of service in this lifetime. I'm going to be used in a way that puts me to my best and highest purpose, and I don't have to figure any of that out, and it's all going down really well. My life continues to support me in ways that I wouldn't even know how it could. I have better and better interactions with everything that I do, and you can start to notice that as long as you're not busy reacting to every minute detail of personal upset that you could have. Could you have a lot of upsets? Yes. Are you right about all of them? Absolutely. You feel the way you feel. It's like, and so what? At some point, and it's not that easy to arrive to without this incredible amount of support in doing that we get from our medicine, prayers, and elevation, and each other.
And there's two things. That one is, we're not talking about perfection, we're talking about practice.
Oh.
And the reason we do the practice is not because we're instructed to do so, or as you said, it's not in a book, although it is in my book.
Buy it.
It's because what we're trying to do is literally not waste our time.
Oh.
I think that point that you made was elegant, because if you're spending 4 days being mad at your wife or your husband or your kid or whatever, who actually is indeed at one time was your favorite person in the world, until you decided all the reasons why you should and had a right to be angry, hurt, and disappointed by their actions or failures. It's just like dealing with that in an hour will gain you a lot of time, because not only will it gain you time, but it will gain you energy that you could be using for something else. I don't know anybody who doesn't say, well, I was just so upset I couldn't fill in the blank. It's like, well, personally, at my age, I would prefer to do the other thing rather than spend my remaining days feeling whatever it is. It's just like, I can feel it, I can move past it, not because I'm right or I'm wrong or the other person is right or wrong. It's just like, I don't want to spend my time doing that. And the other thing that medicine shows you is this. It's like, it opens your heart first to yourself and then to everybody else. And it's like, is that a lie?
Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? The medicine's not telling you, hey, open your heart. We're doing it because that's what it does. And it's like, we're opening our heart to others because it's pleasurable. The other thing is not. And so over the arc of time, in my experience, there is no pleasure whatsoever in shutting it down. It's like, there is none. There's nothing to do there. It's like, well, I'm shutting it down. It's like, oh, well, good for you.
Because I'm right.
Yeah, I'm right about this. It's like, okay. It's like, then you get to reap that, which is not that much fun. It's like, it's like planting a bad crop and sowing it. It's really a waste of time. So it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means if that's the way you want to spend your time, you're welcome to do so. The medicine says, maybe you don't want to spend your time doing that, and it gives you feelings that are alternative to the ones you were having about being angry and right, about whatever it is you liked being angry and right about. And also, it teaches you that the allure of complication is just the allure of complication. It's not the truth. People want love. That's what they want.
That's what we want.
They just want love, and people want acknowledgement, and people want other people to see them, and people want other people to hear them. And it's not that hard to do, as long as we're not splaining why I can't see you because you fill in the blank, or the other person's saying, well, if you would only fill in the blank, or this is unacceptable, or all the things that we say to one another that actually aren't even true. It's like just interim positions.
Yes, a lot of conversation.
And it also feels like, I don't know how this adds to this conversation, but like for me personally, there's been like moving away from thinking that I actually understand my feelings from an analytical perspective, and starting to just let the feelings be sort of how the medicine can kind of get my attention. It's like, this doesn't feel good, and I don't know why, and I'm going to work it until it clears because the medicine seems to keep it in my. It's not going away.
Yeah.
But without having all the, just I don't know what other word to use, the analytical idea of like, let's talk about trying to figure it out, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult when we're talking to people who've not had a medicine experience before, because the implication is that we have some sort of philosophy about this, and that one should adhere to this philosophy. This information, which is emotional information, is contained in the medicine and taught directly to our bodies by the medicine. We're just trying to find a way to talk about it that works, because we want people to know there's an alternative to running your life by your head. This guy wrote this book called Homo Deus, which means, God man. It's like, we are not God. We're people. We are strivers. We are trying to get better. We're trying to learn how to be in these bodies with these brains. We are so not done yet, and we're evolving. And, we can either continue to evolve, or we can occupy a position that doesn't really work very well. And so the risk is, well, what if we're wrong? What if all this love, return to the love, forgiveness, blah, 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 whatever it is that we are being instructed to do by the medicine produces nothing? Well, in our lives, it's produced the observable reality of a lot of happiness and a lot of lack of conflict that both of us and our child formerly experienced. And we have ways that we can be in the world that work for us, so we don't have to be in constant conflict with ourselves and each other. And that's the benefit. So it's not because we're in any way superior to anybody else. We are certainly not. We're trying to say we are just like everybody else, and the medicine has given us tools and grace to deal with human things.
I just want to jump in on the point that you raised about observable reality. And what we're talking about is the things that we observe changing from the way that we're spending our Saturdays with other people in our lives and in a lot of people's lives, thousands of people's lives, is on the order of happier households, better feeling marriages, more successful careers, being able to make the next thing that you want to happen in your life, your move or whatever comes down the pike in a good way. And the mechanism for achieving and receiving all of these really real benefits from this practice is just literally being able to move on, instead of saying like, I'm upset, so therefore I'm upset, so therefore I'm still upset. And it's literally being able to move forward from any upset position. And like George was saying about, what if it's all wrong? It's like, well, wrong or whatever, you got a better life. So maybe what we're saying about it is completely inaccurate and ridiculous, and the people of the future will say, ha ha ha, how could they have said that, and use that as a clue. It's like, thank God we have some kind of clue that gives us something that actually works to make us happier people. And I mean, the only effect a happier person has in the life is going to be more kind and more generous and more involved with the rest of the world. It's unhappiness that makes you stingy and isolated and all that stuff. That goes together. Happiness makes you want to reach out. Happiness makes you want to help. Happiness gives you the political will for betterment. Happiness is not hurting anybody. It's helping everybody. And just because we learn that we can have all our hard feelings and not respond to them and play the fool if you want, because my goodness, I grew up so like that the most important thing was how right I was, and I was righter than everybody in my family, and therefore it did not produce more happiness. Now it took me it was the challenge for any person probably is to go through the series of feelings that you give up when you don't be right anymore. It doesn't matter. Like, you just apologize. You just like, you return to like your sense that you don't know really what's happening or who did what to whom. You don't remember anymore. You're not going to repeat the conversation, but you said this, and then I said that, and then you said, and you just forget all of that, because you maybe in the past your safety was all tied up in who could remember it best and who could explain it the best. And then you go like, okay, so I'll be the person who doesn't remember and doesn't explain and just apologizes. And if you do that practice and you just go like, I am so sorry, this is not how I want to be with you. I want to be that whole, I want to return to the love with you. I will, this is not interesting to me. Loving you is interesting to me. Wow. Your partner, your child, your elderly parent, everybody who's important to you, possibly your boss or your coworker, who are even way less intimate, are going to be so disarmed and be like, me too. Wow, is that an option? I'll take that option. And so whether it's foolish and wrong on any level, it doesn't really matter, because it results every time in getting where you want to go. And it's not just like in these moments with it about manifesting lifestyle and income and families and children and all the things that you want to do. It's real life stuff. How you want to be in this world, having the energy to, drive less, having the energy to, campaign, whatever it is that drives you on any level. You have more energy the less time you spend reinstating the feeling state of your hard feelings. And it's free. You can do it. It's available to you. You don't need to pay anybody, and you don't need to be given the hall pass. You can give your hall pass to yourself, liberate yourself. This is a moment that I don't want to waste doing whatever I'm doing anymore. And no blame, no shame. I came by it honestly. So did whoever just upset you. It's like, that's what seemed normal to them. It's not because they're a bad person. It's not because you're a dumb person. It's because you're a person and nobody has any idea what's going on. It's a miracle that we can all exist at all. Next.
You get that?
Yeah. So I want to say one thing about that, because, when we teach this, we have to be careful, because we're not saying that people should not, take care of themselves in relationships. If you're being abused or, it's like, this is how it works. If you are practicing this and you are, what's coming back at you is the opposite of this, that is observable reality that you're not in a relationship that's going to work for you.
Yes.
Then instead of you having to conjecture about, well, is this the right person for me? I just don't even know, because you're fighting all the time. It's like, well, what if you weren't fighting all the time, and what you realized was however that person was behaving towards you, or however you were behaving towards that person, is not the way you want to feel in your relationship. So we talked last time about how a marriage is really like a symphony, not just, a marriage, but relationships are symphonies. They're music that you make with another person, and we all want it to sound a certain way. And if you are making it with another person, they're contributing notes, and so it should blend together in ways that work for you. Sometimes there's some cacophony, and sometimes it's, cool, and sometimes it's hip hop, and sometimes it's rock and roll, but it's music. And if that is not what's happening, then you have to recognize, not based on your ideas, opinions, and preferences, and whether you're angry and right, you have to let go with sorrow of this person that you decided that you can't be with, because this relationship is not serving you. And that's the bottom line. This is not a way to make you immune to the hard reflections you have about how you are being mistreated or abused in a relationship. Actually, what it does is it makes it all happen much, much more quickly.
Yeah, I think one thing that you had mentioned to me earlier, just around the idea of oftentimes religion is referred to as the opiate of the people, and that
by Karl Marx.
Karl Marx, yeah, right. Someone actually made that quote, Karl Marx. But that what's happening here is it's kind of the opposite. Like, you will not be able to hide from yourself the hard feelings or the things that are wanting to move in your life. You will not be able to just be like, oh, I had some medicine.
No opiate here.
Right.
Yeah. It's the opposite of running away. It's embracing, really embracing your humanity, all of your feelings, all of your thoughts, opinions, ideas, and preferences, and determining what you want to do about them.
I mean, I don't know what all you watching right now, but that was just there's not a lot more to say after all that. We will try to continue the show because it'll be more fun if we do, but I do want to just honor what was said. And I also want to say, for people who are new to these ways, there's a couple times where things are being said that sound like prayers to us, that then you might say aho. Can you just share a little bit what that comes from? And what?
It's an agreement. I'm agreeing with that. I'm putting my voice behind that.
Yeah.
That's all.
I like it.
Yes.
I like when you do it. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's the same as people saying ashe or amen. It's just a punctuation that we use to say, that's
from my heart. Yes, my heart.
Yeah, my heart aligns with that. You could just say yeah. A lot of times we go yay when somebody says something that is reflecting what the larger truth is that we're all feeling not when they're echoing something from the Bible, but when they're saying something, oh yeah, that is so my truth. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I want for myself. That's what I want for everybody else. So it's like, amen. Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get a witness? It's like we're all trying to witness one another's elegant efforts at succeeding and failing at doing this, because we know that if people persist, the happiness quotient in their life will go up immeasurably. We were talking to somebody the other day about how I was saying, well, medicine's not good for gratitude. And they said, well, why do you think that is? And I said, because medicine is about now. It's not about what happened in the past, and it's not anticipating what's going to happen in the future. It's about now. So it's like now everything is exactly how it is. How it was is not interesting anymore. It's like
the bar went up.
Yeah,
so.
The bar went up, so you can't even see backwards anymore. So I'm a Vietnam veteran. I had terrible PTSD for 20 years of my life, and now everything that happened, I know it all happened, but I just don't have a charge on any of it anymore. That's a gift. That's something that you can't buy. You can't get enough therapy to have that feeling, because God knows I tried. It's like I tried everything I could, and only this prayer and how this prayer evolved in my life gave me the freedom and the liberation from the horrible, isolating pain that I felt in my deepest soul. And I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like a pretty happy guy. I feel like a very fortunate person. I feel grateful. I feel like I can connect with other people in a good way, and also feel, this is my life. I'm a 73-year-old man. I'm married. I got a kid. I like this life. I like this life that I've created. I can be in it, but I can only be in it now. I can't be in it reflecting on it.
To your point, you're not going all day long. You're not going like, oh, thank goodness I'm not feeling my PTSD from Vietnam. You're busy going like, wow, today I have my own new challenges of today. How am I going to do today in the next better way? Oh, today this is hard, and I get to try and move through that in a better way. It's like that's what you're busy doing your current life, not busy going like, well, I'm done doing because I got out of that one. It's like, nope, there's more.
All right, so as we did last show, we have some questions from the Medicine Path Facebook fan page. Are you two ready for them?
Yes.
They're directed directly at you. I think I posted a picture of you two about to 50s kiss because I thought that would get more questions for us. So we did get more questions this time than last week. We have a couple this time. So you ready for them? All right, I'm just going to start with number one. I'm asking you questions you don't have to answer. It's good. All right, number one, how do you relate to your own anger? And it's a two-part question, so I'll just give you both parts. The first part is how do you relate to your own anger, and how do you navigate other people's anger when it is directed at you?
Bing, 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 bing. Okay, I don't relate to my anger. I really don't have a problem with my anger, so I don't relate to it. I get angry. I get angry when I feel angry, and I choose different degrees of expression for it depending on what I think I can get away with. If I can get away with having a greater expression of my anger because it's not going to hurt anybody, damage anything, or scare the chickens, as my husband might say. It's like if it's not going to be directed at somebody else and so in a way that they feel it or scare. I mean, it's always a little scary when somebody's angry. So I will try to put some bounds on how I express my anger, but when I'm having my anger, I'm not feeling weird like I shouldn't have it or I have to move it through. I don't do any of that stuff around my anger. Anger is just something that I completely have a relationship with feeling, and I'm not trying to figure out if I'm right because I'm angry, if I'm wrong because I'm angry. It's a feeling. I don't like the feeling. I definitely don't like the feeling of anger, and I trust that I'll be done with my anger as quickly as I possibly can. And I'm so happy to report that at this age in my life, the anger doesn't own very much of any of my soul and much of my time or behavior. It's like some stuff could get me angry, and and when I feel angry, I know it's going to go away pretty fast, and I try and mitigate the damage that I do in thought, word, and deed because of it. But I do not I am the more relating to it I would do, then I would be more stuck there. And of course, learning how to actually manage your expression of it while you definitely know you're angry and that's what you feel, that's dangerous. That's a territory where it's like, how do you know exactly how that's going to be? And I've just practiced long enough so that I can pretty much trust that that any bounds that I'm going to step over, that I'm not going to do some kind of God willing, that would be a prayer, because it would be really horrible for me if I did something out of anger that really was something I couldn't correct pretty quickly. So, and then the anger directed at me, if somebody directs anger at me, that hurts my feelings. That hurts my feelings on the degree of like getting your feelings hurt. It doesn't hurt my feelings on the degree. I mean, it depends what it is. Like if it's my daughter, and is the one who's kind of constantly sometimes angry at me, and so that's a different relationship. When strangers are angry at me, wow, that's tough. It's like I don't want to be a person in the world who randomly attracts anger, but I do, because I attract anger to myself in really random community situations, because I ride a one wheel and a bicycle, and like already people are pissed off at you for that, no matter how careful you're trying to be. And sometimes I'm trying to be more careful than others. I think I'm in the bounds of what's good behavior on a bicycle, and somebody else could be like, that is so unsafe, and they're angry already at me. So being able to feel that I don't like that feeling, but not, but also have the self, just the confidence that I know that I don't mean anybody any harm, and I'm sorry for the difficult effects that I have in the world, and that God still loves me, and that, I can do better next time. Or sometimes people's anger at you is just completely, it's just none of my business anyway. But you can choose how much business of it, I like to see how much of my business it really is or isn't. And sometimes there's a correction to be made. I could have done that way better. I was blind to it. I didn't know. And other times it's just like, wow, that is just absolutely nothing to do with me. And there's a difference. There's a real difference. Those are really different things. Sometimes somebody's got, something to tell you, and sometimes they're just, doing their own thing and calling it you. So there's my 2 cents.
It's almost a dime.
Yeah, well, to me, my anger is like fire. It just goes like that, and I feel it, I experience it as fire, and I don't feel like I have to do anything because I'm angry. So in the past, if I felt angry, then I would do angry things, and now if I feel angry, I know I'm angry. So since it's fire, it's like if I don't feed it, if I don't start attaching other things to it, like resentments or recriminatory feelings and thoughts, whatever, it goes away and it's replaced by nothing. I mean, most anger, it burns everything up like fire does, and it leaves nothing in its wake. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the fire principle morphs, it creates change. So I'm not really so afraid of anger per se. The thing that I have struggled with in the past is, and I don't think I do this now, and I don't want to, but it's like taking my resentments, rancor, recrimination from things that have happened in the past and using it. I use a metaphor of like, building 3 small fires and then tending them with like little bits of shaving and kindling, because something happens where my mind tells me, oh, this is like that, and so I add to that little fire. So I have these 3 little fires that produce no warmth whatsoever, and I'm busy all the time tending them. And so when I got that was what I was doing, then I decided that I would find a way to stop doing that. And I just see the fire of my anger as a way to consume all that stuff at the same time. Like it's just throwing everything in the fire, like we burn prayer ties from our pipe ceremony and from our medicine ceremonies. And when we do that, we're releasing all the upset that was contained in those prayers, not just the requests and the ask for help, but it's also all the concern, all the worry, all the fear, all the other things that go into people feeling like they need to make a prayer. And so if I understand myself as being a person who in the past has felt very vulnerable to the anger and hurt feelings of others, and I've felt resentment and recrimination and yeah, but you fill in the blank, retaliation, vengeance, whatever. It's just like I just don't like those feelings anymore. So since I don't like them, I just let myself feel angry, and I don't do anything about it if I can. I mean, sometimes I fail, but most of the time I think I do pretty well. It's not a succeeding or failing thing. It's like I want to use anger appropriately for me. Like, it's my anger, it's not anybody else's. And then as to other people being angry with me, I've been in a semi-leadership position for 20 years or so. It's like my understanding of what goes on is everybody loves George and everybody hates George, and the same people that hate George wind up loving George, and the same people who love George wind up hating George. And I can't take it personally because I understand that. I understand it's a lot of feelings. People project a lot of stuff onto me, and that's their privilege. They can do whatever they want. I'm not here to defend my Georgeness. I am the most George I can be, and that is my job on this earth, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I don't bear anybody any ill will, nor do I really have any judgment about anybody. But I can't unsee what I see. I see exactly what I see. It's discernment. This is this is that. So if somebody's, doing some kind of boogaloo in front of me to try to prove something to me, it's like that's not what's going to prove anything to me. It's like your quest for your personal peace at the expense of your bullshit is what interests me, whoever you are. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're good looking or tall or short or old. If you're doing that thing, you have my interest and you have my attention. And if you don't, I just don't really care. So, some people can construe that any way they want. But that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at what I'm looking at. And everybody else is looking at what they're looking at too. And I don't, they're looking, it's like, well, he fill in the blank. It's like, absolutely. If that's the way you see it, then that's the way you see it. But since I respect my own discernment and respect what I'm looking for, I don't want to waste my time having to sort through a bunch of other people's, Broadway show in order to get what I want out of it. What I want is I want to see people making any kind of effort on their own behalf to produce more peace, more love, and more happiness in their life, however they do it. I don't care how they do it.
All right, well, so episode 2 in the books. We've done 2 shows now.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Thank you.
It's really an honor to get to be a part of this with you two. I don't know how this all happened for me, but it's really fun.
You're
so I'm
really
just going to
fun.
say yes to it.
It happened because you're Aaron
Well,
Scheller.
there you go. It's my
You
life.
have to be you
And
to be
it also happens because
Absolutely.
John Burke.
Yes.
Swing that camera around on your
Please.
handsome face there.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Hey
Yeah.
everyone.
This is your reward
Wait,
for
no.
watching.
Yeah, now you get to
Pretty
see
sure I'm
John.
not focused, but
That wasn't the shot I wanted. I was like, can we redo the shot? Let's do it one more time.
Yeah,
Because
let's
you
do
are a
that
really
one more time.
exceptionally good-looking person.
Well,
Spin it around and I'll
Yeah,
I'll frame
just
it.
get a shot and then you can edit
Hey, you
it
wanna come in?
because we really want that.
Yeah, because it wasn't good.
Sorry.
hey everyone, I'm behind the camera.
Hi, John.
So last time we ended the show with 50s kissing. Do we do it again? Because I feel like it's going to take some practice. I don't know if people are watching. Maybe it would be
All right.
nice. It would humor me if you would like message us or text me if you know me personally, or just if you practice 50s kissing with someone that you're in a relationship with, because I think we really would like there to be more 50s kissing in the world.
And
And I will
this
move
Or
for
someone you're not in a
Yeah,
relationship
or not.
with, too. Maybe someone you'd like to be in a
This is
relationship.
because we never got on Kiss Cam, but this is 50s kissing, folks.
Ready?